One of the most common alterations in blank verse in general, and Shakespeare's verse in particular, is a trochaic substitution. That means that he exchanges trochee for an iamb, and most often it happens in the first foot of the line. So, just to remind you, a trochee is that foot, that unit of meter, that has a strong stress followed by a weak one. So it's the opposite of an iamb, da-dum rather than da-dum. There are poems, by the way, that are completely in trochees. So if you know William Blake's poem about the tiger, it goes, tiger, tiger, burning, bright, bump, 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 bump. That starts with a trochee and it continues in trochees. But when you have a line of iambic pentameter, with a trochaic substitution in the first foot, it just looks like this. Da-dun, 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 da-dun. In this case, still 10 syllables, still 5 strong stresses. Now sometimes there has to be that trochaic substitution. You just cannot read the line unless you change it. So here's an example from Shakespeare's Sonnet 130. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. So that first line can be perfectly regular. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. But then when you get to that next word, it can't be corral, which would be an iamb, because that's where horses live, right? That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the coral that grows in the sea, and that's coral. Coral is far more red than her lips red. So in that case, you have still 2 lines of iambic pentameter, but the second one has a trochaic substitution in the first foot. As I say, that's one of the most common changes that you'll see Shakespeare make in his meter. And often there's a reason for it. If you make a substitution, you actually draw attention to a word. Coral is far more red than her lips red. Here's another example, though. In this case, this is one of Hamlet's many laments. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Now, most of that is monosyllables, so you can fit the iambic pentameter really neatly on top of it. Oh, what a rogue and peasant, right? Not peasant, but peasant slave am I. And that works. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Perfectly regular. But my guess is that an actor looking at that first foot is going to feel more natural, emphasizing not what a rogue and peasant slave am I, but instead that lament. So, oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. So there's an example of a trochaic substitution, which doesn't have to have them, but which would emphasize the O, and the actor or the reader might decide that that's the more important word there. So that's a really common one as well, where Shakespeare doesn't insist, but probably suggests that the first syllable is better to emphasize than the second. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I, rather than, oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. So a trochaic substitution is simply a otherwise regular line of iambic pentameter that substitutes a trochee, strong stress, followed by weak, for an iamb. And as I say, along with the feminine ending, it's one of the most common ways that Shakespeare alters his meter.